Your heart is pounding, your chest feels tight, your hands are tingling. Some part of your brain is screaming that you're about to die, even though nothing around you is actually dangerous. That reaction has a name, and it's older than you think. You've probably assumed a panic attack is your brain malfunctioning, something broken, something going wrong that shouldn't be happening. But evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse spent decades arguing the opposite. Panic isn't a glitch. It's a perfectly working alarm system, one your ancestors needed to survive, now firing off in a world that doesn't match the one it was built for. Here's the logic, and it comes down to a simple trade-off. Imagine your ancestor hears a rustle in the grass. There are two ways to be wrong. You could ignore it, and it turns out to be a predator. That mistake costs you your life. Or you could panic and run, and it turns out to be just the wind. That mistake costs you a few wasted seconds and a racing heart. Those two outcomes are not even close to equal. So when Nesse worked out the math behind this trade-off, the conclusion was clear. Natural selection should, and did, build the threshold low on purpose. A system tuned to fire constantly on false alarms, as long as it almost never misses a real threat, will always outlast a system that stays calm and gets it wrong even once. He compares it directly to a smoke detector mounted in your kitchen. You want it screaming because you burned toast. You do not want it staying silent during an actual fire. A few hundred wasted alarms are a small price for never missing the one that matters. For most of human history, that wiring did exactly its job, and mostly without complications. A rustle, a shadow, a sound in the dark. Your body reacted instantly, then reset once the threat passed or never materialized. The alarm fired, and then it went quiet again. But Nesse noticed something else in his patients. This same system can get stuck in a loop entirely on its own, with no outside danger involved at any point. Here's the pattern he describes. Someone has a sudden bout of chest tightness and a racing heart. Understandably alarmed, they go to the emergency room. A doctor runs the tests, finds nothing wrong with the heart, and sends them home with what sounds like reassurance. It doesn't look serious, but if it happens again, come back right away. That sentence is meant to be comforting. Nesse argues it's actually the spark that lights the whole thing on fire, because now the person starts paying attention to their own heartbeat in a way they never did before. The next time it speeds up, from coffee, from climbing a flight of stairs, from stress, sometimes from absolutely nothing identifiable at all, they notice immediately. That noticing itself triggers a small wave of anxiety. The anxiety releases stress hormones that speed the heart rate up further. The faster heartbeat gets noticed again, triggering more anxiety, which speeds the heart up even more. Within minutes, a completely ordinary physical sensation has spiraled through nothing but feedback into a full panic attack. Heart pounding, breath short, a wave of dread that something is seriously wrong, even though the original trigger was never dangerous to begin with. Nesse has a specific term for this: a vicious circle. It's the same basic principle behind why pain thresholds drop after repeated injury. Your body assumes that if something hurt once and you underreacted, it should react more intensely next time just in case. That adjustment makes sense when the threat is real and recurring. The problem is that the same self-tuning logic applies whether the threat is a real predator or your own heartbeat. Once the system starts treating your pulse as the danger, every beat becomes the rustle in the grass, and the alarm has nothing left to do but keep ringing. This is also why Nesse insists panic attacks aren't a sign of weakness or a personal failure of willpower. The exact same trait that once kept a small band of humans alive on an unpredictable, predator-filled landscape is now, for some people, turning the inside of their own chest into something to fear. It isn't a malfunction in the way most people assume. It's a survival tool, working precisely as designed, just aimed, through no fault of the person experiencing it, at the wrong target. If panic attacks are something you experience regularly, that pattern is worth bringing to a doctor or a therapist. Recovery often starts with small steps repeated day after day.